"I'm not your pet," she growled, then curled into his lap and stayed. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Eli had learned long ago not to trust silence in space. Silence usually meant something was broken, abandoned, or waiting to kill you. His small salvage ship drifted near the edge of a dead star system, where light bent strangely and sensors often lied. The distress signal had been old, repeating in a broken loop, weak but persistent. Eli almost ignored it. Almost. But humans had a habit of answering calls no one else would. He guided the ship closer, fingers steady on the controls. The signal source floated ahead, a dark shape against darker space. A containment pod, military grade, not human. "That's never good," Eli muttered to himself. The pod showed signs of damage, scorch marks, and impact fractures. Whatever had happened here was violent. His scanners read faint life signs inside. Singular, small, alive. Eli hesitated. Salvage law said abandoned pods were fair claim. Survival law said opening unknown alien containers was a fast way to die. Human instinct said someone in there was scared and alone. Human instinct won. He latched the pod into his cargo bay and cycled the airlock. The bay lights flickered on, casting long shadows over the metal shell. The pod was covered in strange markings, curved lines etched deep into the alloy. Warnings, maybe, or prayers. Eli approached slowly, wearing a basic suit with minimal armor. He armed a shock baton, knowing it would probably be useless. "Okay," he said softly, as if whoever was inside could hear him. "I'm opening this now. Let's not make it ugly." The pod hissed as pressure equalized. Locks disengaged one by one with sharp clicks. The front panel slid open. Something small exploded out of the pod like a missile. Eli barely had time to react before a blur of claws, teeth, and fury slammed into his chest. He fell backward hard, crashing against the deck. Pain flared as sharp claws raked across his suit. A snarl echoed through the cargo bay, deep and wild, nothing like the recordings of known species. The creature perched on his chest, crouched low, eyes glowing a fierce amber. She was about the size of a human child, with soft fur patterned in dark stripes, a long tail lashing behind her. Her ears were flat against her head, and her mouth was full of sharp teeth bared in warning. A damaged translator collar hung loosely around her neck, sparking and whining. "Don't," Eli gasped, holding still. "I'm not attacking you," she hissed anyway. The collar crackled, then forced out broken words. "Not pet," she growled. "Not owned, touch, die." Eli raised his hands slowly, palms open. "Good," he said, "because I don't want a pet." That seemed to confuse her. The snarl softened just a little, replaced by suspicion. She leaned closer, sniffing his face. Her nose twitched. Human. Her claws dug into his suit, but not deeper. She spoke again, voice rough but clearer. "We're hunters," Eli swallowed. "I don't see any. You were alone out there." Her eyes widened slightly. Fear flickered through her anger, gone almost as fast as it appeared. "No cage?" she asked. "No cage," Eli said. "Just my ship." The ship chose that moment to shudder violently. Warning lights flared red. Alarms screamed. The artificial gravity stuttered, then surged. The creature let out a sharp cry and lost her balance. She tumbled forward, instinctively grabbing the nearest solid thing. That thing was Eli. She landed hard against him, arms wrapping around his torso, claws hooking into his jacket. Her tail coiled tight, her face buried against his chest. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Then she froze. Slowly, very slowly, she realized what she was doing. She pulled back just enough to glare at him, eyes blazing. "I am not your pet," she growled again. Eli didn't move, didn't speak. He was very aware of her weight, her warmth, and the way her heart was racing against his ribs. "I know," he said quietly. Another tremor shook the ship. The lights flickered again, then stabilized. The alarms died down to a low warning hum. The creature hesitated. Then, to Eli's surprise, she settled back down against him, not attacking, not biting, staying. Her ears flicked, listening to the ship's sounds. Her grip loosened just a little, but she did not let go. Eli didn't dare breathe too loudly. Minutes passed. Finally she shifted, curling into a compact shape on his lap, tail wrapped around herself. Her eyes stayed open, watching him closely. "You safe?" she asked. Eli blinked. "I think so. Ship had a gravity surge. This system is unstable." She made a low sound in her throat. "Hunters use places like this." Eli's stomach tightened. "Hunters looking for you?" "Yes." "Who are they?" Her ears flattened again. "Everyone." That answer scared him more than anything else. He slowly slid his hand away from the shock baton and rested it on the deck instead. "My name's Eli. I'm not with them." She studied his face for a long time. Her eyes glowed softer now, less like fire, more like embers. "I am Rin," she said. The translator collar sparked again, then went quiet. Whatever power it had left was fading. Eli nodded. "Nice to meet you, Rin. You can sit there, I guess." She made a sharp sound that might have been laughter. "You are strange." "Yeah," Eli agreed. "I get that a lot." The ship's sensors beeped suddenly. Eli's eyes flicked to the console, multiple contacts. His heart dropped. "Rin," he said carefully, "how many hunters usually come?" She lifted her head, ears twitching. Her eyes narrowed as if she could feel them. "Too many." The external display lit up, showing several ships emerging from warped space. Sleek, angular designs, not human. Their transponders screamed authority and threat. A message cut through the comms, cold and precise. "Unregistered human vessel. Power down and prepare for inspection. You are in possession of restricted biological property." Eli felt Rin tense in his lap. Her claws dug in again, but this time she did not attack him. "Property." Eli's jaw tightened. He keyed the mic. "Negative. I picked up a distress signal. I'm leaving." There was a pause. Then another message, sharper. "Failure to comply will result in destruction." Rin looked up at him. "They will kill you." "Maybe," Eli said. She stared at him, confused. "Then why not give me?" Eli met her eyes. "Because you're not property." Something in Rin's expression changed. Not trust, not yet, but something close to disbelief. The hunter ships began to spread out, cutting off escape paths. Eli's ship was fast, but not built for combat. He glanced down at the small alien curled against him, fierce and frightened all at once. "Hold on," he said. Rin blinked. "I am holding." The engines roared as Eli pushed the ship hard, diving toward the system's unstable gravity well. Alarms screamed again. Space twisted ahead, dangerous and unpredictable. Behind them, weapons powered up. Rin's grip tightened, her face pressing against his chest once more. "I am not your pet," she said again, quieter now. Eli swallowed. "I know." The ship plunged forward as space itself seemed to bend, and the hunters followed. And somewhere deep in the void, the galaxy took its first step toward learning a dangerous truth about humans. The jump through the gravity well was violent. Eli's ship screamed as metal strained and systems overloaded. The artificial gravity flickered, throwing loose objects into the air before slamming them back down. Warning lights flashed across every panel. Behind them, the hunter ships followed. They should not have been able to. Eli clenched his teeth and fought the controls, hands steady despite the shaking. He had flown through storms, debris fields, and collapsing orbits, but this was different. Space itself felt angry here. Rin stayed pressed against him, smaller now, tightly curled, her tail wrapped around his arm. Her breathing was fast but controlled. "They should fall apart," she said. "This place eats ships." "Humans build stubborn machines," Eli replied. "Sometimes we are stubborn too." The ship burst free on the other side of the gravity surge, tumbling into dark, open space. Eli corrected the spin and slammed power into the engines. The stars stretched as the ship fled at full burn. He dared a glance at the rear sensors. 2 hunter ships were gone. One had been crushed into fragments by the gravity distortion. Another was drifting, torn open, venting atmosphere and debris, but 3 remained. "They adapt fast," Eli muttered. Rin lifted her head, eyes glowing brighter as she focused. "They always do." The ship's computer chimed softly. Fuel levels were dropping faster than expected. The gravity well jump had taken more than it should have. Eli eased off the engines and brought the ship into a long curve, heading toward a cluster of dead rocks drifting in silence. "We can't outrun them forever," he said. Rin studied the sensor display, though Eli doubted she understood the human interface. "They will not stop." "I figured." He guided the ship behind a large asteroid, then another, weaving through the debris field. The hunters followed, careful now, spreading out. Eli killed the engines. The sudden silence felt heavy. The ship drifted, hidden among the rocks. Only life support and minimal systems stayed active. Eli held his breath, listening to the quiet hum. Rin shifted slightly but stayed close. "They can smell me," she said softly. Eli frowned. "Smell? Not like you," she explained. "Pattern, probability, trace." Eli didn't understand, but he didn't interrupt. "My kind bends chance," she continued. "Small things, luck, survival. Escape, that is why we lived so long, that is why they hunted us." Eli glanced at her. "You can control luck," she shook her head. "No, it happens, always, around us. Too much and it breaks us." Eli thought about the impossible jump they had survived. About the hunter ships that had failed where his had not. "And being near me?" he asked. Rin hesitated. "You change it." Before Eli could ask how, the proximity alarm chirped. One hunter ship emerged from behind the asteroids, closer than expected. Its hull bristled with weapons, sleek and cruel. "They found us," Eli whispered. Rin's body went tense, her ears flattened, her claws dug into the fabric of his jacket again. "Give me time," she said. "To do what?" She closed her eyes. The air felt heavy. The lights dimmed. Eli felt a strange pressure behind his eyes, like the moment before sleep or before a dream. The hunter ship's sensors flickered on the display. Its targeting reticle wavered. Then its main engine failed. The ship drifted helplessly, colliding slowly with an asteroid. Metal buckled, power systems overloaded. Rin gasped sharply and sagged against Eli, trembling. "That was not small," she whispered. Eli caught her before she slid off his lap. "Hey, hey, easy." Her skin felt hot, too hot. The other hunter ships reacted instantly, pulling back, weapons powering up. They fired blindly into the debris field. Eli didn't wait. He powered up and launched hard, blasting out of the rocks as debris exploded around them. A glancing hit rocked the ship, tearing a panel loose, but the hull held. The stars stretched again as they escaped into open space. Minutes passed before Eli slowed the ship and finally let himself breathe. Rin was still shaking. He gently shifted her so she lay across the seat beside him, still close but supported. She didn't protest. "I said I'm not a pet," she murmured weakly. Eli gave a tired smile. "Yeah, you've mentioned that." Her eyes cracked open. "Then why do you hold me?" Eli considered the question. "Because you're hurt." She studied his face carefully. "You gain nothing." "True. That makes no sense. Welcome to humans." She made a quiet sound that might have been amusement. Then her eyes closed again. Eli checked the ship's status. Damage was manageable. Fuel was low but not critical. They had bought time, nothing more. He leaned back in the pilot's chair, exhaustion catching up to him. The ship's internal sensors chimed suddenly. "New signal, human." Eli straightened instantly. "That's a patrol code." A voice came through the speakers, calm and firm. "Unidentified vessel, this is human patrol ship Horizon Reach. You are entering monitored space. Identify yourself." Relief washed over Eli, followed quickly by worry. Rin stirred, her ears twitching. "More hunters." "No," Eli said. "My people." Her eyes snapped open. Fear flared bright. "They will trade me." "No," Eli said more sharply than he meant. "They won't." She stared at him, searching. The patrol ship appeared on sensors, large and solid, painted with human markings. Weapons were powered but not aimed. Eli opened a channel. "This is civilian salvage ship Wayfarer. I picked up a distress signal. I have a survivor aboard." There was a pause. "A survivor of what species?" the voice asked. Eli looked at Rin. She shook her head slightly. Do not say. Eli made a choice. Unknown, he replied, but she's not cargo, she's not property. Another pause, longer this time. Rin's claws dug into the seat. If they scan me, they won't, Eli said quietly. I'll make sure. The patrol ship moved closer, matching speed. Prepare for visual inspection, the voice said. Eli's heart pounded. He powered down weapons and opened the external cameras. Inside the cockpit, Rin slowly climbed back into his lap, curling in tight, making herself smaller. If they take me, she whispered, I will break everything. Eli rested a hand lightly on her back. Let's try not to get there. The patrol ship filled the view screen. Human faces appeared on the display, serious, alert. The lead officer leaned forward. You look like hell, Salvager. Eli let out a shaky laugh. You should see the other guys. The officer's eyes flicked downward, narrowing slightly. You're not alone. Eli met her gaze. No, I'm not. Rin lifted her head just enough for her glowing eyes to be seen on camera. A sharp intake of breath came from the other side. Silence followed. And in that silence, the galaxy edged closer to realizing that humans did not always follow the rules written for them. The silence after the patrol officer saw Rin lasted too long. On the screen, several human faces shifted from routine focus to sharp alertness. Someone off-camera spoke in a low voice. Another screen lit up with scanning data, lines of code moving fast. Rin felt it instantly. Her body went rigid in Eli's lap. Her breathing slowed, becoming too controlled, like a cornered animal preparing to strike. They are measuring me, she whispered. Eli kept his voice calm. They measure everything. That is how it starts. Before Eli could answer, the patrol officer spoke again. Her tone had changed. Civilian vessel Wayfarer, you are ordered to hold position. Do not engage engines. Do not alter course. Eli frowned. That sounds less friendly than a minute ago. Your ship is carrying an unidentified non-human entity, the officer said. That makes this a security matter. Rin's claws pressed through the fabric of Eli's jacket, just barely scratching skin. Not enough to hurt, enough to warn. They will cage me, she said. No, Eli said firmly. I won't let that happen. She tilted her head to look up at him. You cannot stop them. Watch me try. Eli leaned forward and keyed the internal comm, requesting private channel, human to human. There was hesitation, then the patrol officer nodded. Granted, audio only. The screens went dark except for one. This is Officer Hale, the voice said. State your concern. My concern is that you're about to make a mistake, Eli said. That being on record, Hale exhaled slowly. You picked up a high-value alien target, Salvager. Do you know how many non-aligned fleets are searching for that species? I know she's alive, Eli replied, and scared. She is dangerous. So am I, Eli said. So are you. That doesn't mean we get chained. There was silence again. Then Hale spoke carefully. You don't understand what you're involved in. Eli glanced down at Rin. Her eyes were fixed on the dark screen, glowing faintly. Then explain it, he said. Hale hesitated. That species causes instability. Probability failures, system-wide disasters, entire stations have been lost near them. Rin flinched. Lies. Not lies, Hale said. Records, Eli frowned. Records written by who? Another pause. By the ones who survived, Hale said. Eli shook his head. That's not how truth works. The patrol ship's sensors suddenly spiked. A sharp alarm cut through the Wayfarer's cockpit. Multiple warp signatures. Rin gasped. They followed, Hale swore. Hostile contacts incoming, non-human. The hunter ships tore into real space like blades, faster than before. 6 of them, weapons already hot. They should not be this fast, Rin said, fear breaking through her control. They learned. Hale's voice hardened. Wayfarer, move behind us. Now. Eli didn't argue. He pushed the engines and slid the smaller ship into the patrol vessel's shadow. Space erupted into chaos. The hunter ships opened fire, beams slicing through vacuum, slamming into the patrol ship's shields. Human weapons answered, controlled and precise, but the hunters moved strangely, dodging shots they should not have predicted. "They are adjusting to probability," Rin whispered. Eli felt it then. A strange pressure, like the universe holding its breath. The patrol ship took a hit. The shields flared, then dipped. Hale cursed. "They're targeting our weak points. That's not possible." "Yes, it is," Rin said softly. "Near me." She slid off Eli's lap and stood unsteadily on the deck. Her fur bristled, her tail lashed. "I will end this," she said. Eli grabbed her arm. "No, last time almost killed you." "It will kill me anyway," she replied. "Or worse." Before he could stop her, she closed her eyes. The pressure intensified. Lights flickered. Eli's vision blurred. He felt memories surface without reason, old fears, old hopes, all tangled. On the sensors, one hunter ship suddenly veered off course, colliding with another. Their hulls tore open in a violent bloom of debris. Another ship's weapons misfired, ripping through its own engines. Rin screamed. She dropped to her knees, clutching her head. Blood trickled from her nose. Eli rushed to her side, catching her as she fell. "Stop," he said urgently. "Please stop." The pressure snapped. The remaining hunter ships pulled back abruptly, retreating, their formation broken. The patrol ship stabilized its shields. In the cockpit of the Wayfarer, Rin lay limp in Eli's arms. "She's dying," Hale said over the comm, voice tight. "Her biosigns are crashing." Eli didn't answer. He was already acting. He lifted Rin and strapped her into the co-pilot's seat, securing her carefully. He pulled a medkit from the wall and scanned her. The readouts meant little to him, but one thing was clear. Her systems were overloaded. "She can't do that again," Eli muttered. Rin's eyes fluttered open. "I told you," she whispered. "Too much breaks us." Eli clenched his jaw. "Then we won't let it be too much." Hale's voice came through again, quieter now. "Wayfarer, you need to transfer her to us. We have better medical facilities." Rin's eyes widened in terror. She tried to move, failed. "No cage," she whispered. Eli looked at her, then at the dark screen. "No," he said. Hale stiffened. "This isn't a request." Eli's hand shook slightly, but his voice stayed steady. "She saved your ship. She saved your crew." "That doesn't change." "Yes, it does," Eli snapped. "Humans don't abandon someone who just bled for them." Silence. Then a new voice cut in, older, calmer. "This is Captain Rourke," the voice said. "I've been listening." Eli swallowed. "Sir, I saw the sensor data," Rourke continued. "I saw what she did and what it cost her." Rin forced herself to look toward the screen. Her voice was weak but clear. "I am not weapon. I am not pet. I am not property." Rourke was quiet for a long moment. "Human history," he said slowly, "is full of people calling others dangerous so they could control them." Hale protested. "Captain?" "Enough," Rourke said. "Wayfarer, keep her aboard. We'll escort you to the nearest safe zone." Eli let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Rin sagged back against the seat, relief washing over her face. "But understand this," Rourke added. "The moment she becomes a threat to civilians, I will act." Eli nodded. "Fair." The patrol ship moved into position ahead of them, taking point. As they traveled, Rin's breathing slowly evened out. Eli stayed close, holding her hand, ignoring how strange that might look. After a while, she spoke again. "Why do you resist your own kind?" she asked. Eli thought about it. "Because being human isn't about following orders, it's about choosing who we protect." She studied him with tired eyes. "That is why you change probability." Eli frowned. "I don't have powers." "No," she said, "you have something worse." "What?" "Refusal." He huffed a small laugh. "Yeah, that sounds like us." Hours passed. The patrol ship led them toward a quiet region of space far from major lanes. The hunter ships did not return, but Eli knew this was not over. As if to prove him right, the Wayfarer's internal alarm chimed again. New message. Encrypted, not human. Rin stiffened. "They are speaking to me." Eli's blood ran cold. "How?" She closed her eyes, listening. "They say they will take you next time." Eli leaned back in his chair, staring at the stars. "Figures," he said. Rin turned to him slowly. They fear you. That's new. You should be afraid, she said seriously. Humans should not exist near my kind. Eli met her gaze, too late. She was quiet for a long time. Then very carefully she shifted and curled back into his lap, resting her head against his chest. I am still not your pet, she murmured. Eli smiled faintly and rested his hand on her back. I know, he said. Outside the ship, the stars burned on, unaware that something fundamental had already changed. The safe zone was not what Eli expected. It was not a station full of lights and traffic. It was a quiet stretch of space near a blue-white star, empty except for a few sensor buoys and one small human outpost built into an asteroid. The patrol ship slowed and took position nearby, keeping watch. Inside the Wayfarer, everything felt too quiet. Rin slept in the co-pilot's seat, curled tightly, her tail wrapped around herself. Her breathing was shallow but steady. The med scanner showed her condition was stable but fragile. Eli did not leave her side. He powered down non-essential systems and let the ship drift. For the first time since picking up the distress signal, he allowed himself to feel how tired he was. Rin stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly in the dim light. Are we dead? She asked. Eli let out a quiet breath of relief. No, just resting. She looked around, taking in the cockpit, the comm sensors, the lack of alarms. They are gone. For now, Eli said. She pushed herself up with effort and glanced at her hands, which were still trembling. I am weak. Yeah, Eli said gently. You scared the hell out of me. She looked at him, confused. Why? Because you matter, he said, before thinking too hard about it. Rin stared at him for a long time. Her ears flicked, then flattened again. You say things without calculation. That's also very human. She shifted, then slowly climbed into his lap again, as if it was the most natural place to be. This time there was no fear in the movement. Just choice. Eli stiffened slightly, then relaxed. Outside the ship, a message light blinked. Incoming transmission, human. Eli answered it, keeping his voice low. Captain Rourke appeared on the screen, his face lined and serious. How is she? Alive, Eli said. That's a win today, Rourke nodded. Medical reviewed your scans. She pushed herself past safe limits. She did it to save you, Eli said. I know, Rourke replied. That debt matters. There was a pause. Command is not happy, Rourke continued. Other governments are already asking questions. They want her. Rin's body went tense. No, Eli said immediately. Rourke raised a hand. Listen, I am not ordering you to surrender her, not yet. Eli narrowed his eyes. Not yet. She represents a shift, Rourke said carefully. The hunters didn't just follow her, they followed you. Eli frowned. Me? Yes, Rourke said. Your ship survived conditions their ships didn't. You made choices they couldn't predict. You refused to act in your own short-term interest. Rin looked up at Eli. They cannot model you, Rourke nodded. Exactly. Silence hung heavy. What does that mean? Eli asked. It means, Rourke said, that humans just entered a very dangerous equation. The transmission ended. Eli leaned back in his chair, staring at the dark screen. Rin shifted in his lap. You are afraid now. Yeah, he admitted. A little. That is good, she said softly. Fear means awareness. He glanced down at her. You say that like you're a teacher. She tilted her head. My people were teachers, once. Eli waited. She took a slow breath. Before the hunting, before the cages, before the lies, we did not fight, we guided, we corrected small chances. Ships arrived safely, crops grew, wars ended early. Why hunt you then? Eli asked. Because control is easier than trust, she replied. That answer sat heavy between them. Hours passed. The outpost never contacted them. The patrol ship stayed silent but alert. Everything felt like the pause before a storm. Then Rin suddenly straightened. They are close, she said. Eli checked sensors. Nothing. I feel them, she insisted. Not ships, minds. A chill ran through him. Can they reach you like that? Yes, she said, but they cannot reach you. Almost as if summoned by her words, the lights dimmed. The ship's systems flickered. Eli swore under his breath and reached for the controls. That's not normal. A new signal appeared on the console, not a ship, a broadcast, every channel at once. A voice filled the cockpit, smooth and cold, translated instantly by the ship systems. Rin flinched. "Child of distortion," the voice said, "you hide behind a fragile species." Eli's jaw clenched. "I don't like that tone." Rin's voice shook. "Do not answer them." The voice continued. "Human, you are an anomaly. You interfere where you do not belong." Eli leaned toward the mic. "Funny, that's what we say about you." Rin grabbed his arm. "Eli, please." The voice paused, then shifted. "You are inefficient," it said. "You gain nothing from this bond." Eli didn't hesitate. "I don't need to gain." Silence. Then the voice changed again, sharper now. "You will be removed." The ship lurched violently. Eli slammed into his harness as gravity spiked. Systems screamed. The stars outside twisted, bending unnaturally. Rin cried out. "They are pulling probability apart," she gasped. "They are forcing collapse." Eli fought the controls. "Can you stop it?" Rin shook her head, fear flooding her expression. "Not alone." "Then don't be alone," Eli said. He did something that made no sense at all. He shut down the navigation computer. Rin stared at him. "What are you doing?" "Taking choice away from the math," he said. "Flying blind." The ship dropped out of controlled motion, tumbling freely as Eli manually corrected, using instinct instead of calculation. The pressure shifted. The voice faltered. "Unpredictable," it hissed. Rin felt it. The crushing weight eased slightly. Eli kept flying manually, reacting instead of planning, refusing patterns, refusing optimization. The ship should have torn itself apart. It didn't. Rin's eyes widened. "You are shielding me." "I don't know how," Eli grunted. "But I'm not stopping." The voice screamed now, distorted. "You destabilize everything." "That's kind of our thing," Eli snapped. With a final violent shudder, the pressure vanished. The lights stabilized. The stars returned to normal. Silence. Eli slumped back, breathing hard. Rin collapsed into him, shaking. "They cannot touch you," she whispered in awe. "Your minds do not echo like ours." Eli closed his eyes briefly. "You mean we're stubborn?" "Yes," she said, "dangerously." She lifted her head and looked at him, really looked at him, not as shelter, not as protection, but as equal. "My people believed bonds were weakness," she said. "I think we were wrong." Eli opened his eyes. "You're saying that now," she nodded slowly. "You do not own me. You do not command me, you do not cage me. I wouldn't dare. And yet," she continued, "I choose you." His heart skipped. Outside, the patrol ship moved closer, weapons scanning, confused but unharmed. Rin curled back into his lap, calmer now than ever before. "I am not your pet," she said softly. Eli rested his hand on her back, steady and warm. "I know." Far away, beyond human space, unseen forces adjusted their models, recalculated their odds, and found something deeply unsettling. For the first time, probability itself had encountered something it could not predict, a human who refused to let go. The message spread faster than any ship could travel. It did not move through space alone. It moved through fear. Across hidden relays, encrypted channels, and quiet listening posts, the same conclusion appeared again and again. Human proximity altered outcomes. Eli did not know any of that yet. He was busy trying to keep his ship together. The Wayfarer drifted slowly near the human outpost, its systems recovering from the forced probability collapse. Several panels were burned out. One engine was running hot. Life support was stable, but only just. Rin remained in his lap, unusually quiet. She was not weak anymore. She was focused. "They are watching," she said softly. Eli glanced at the sensors. "The patrol ship." "No," she replied. "Others." That was when the outpost finally contacted them. A calm human voice came through the speakers. "Wayfarer, this is Haven Station. You caused quite a disturbance." Eli sighed. "Sorry about that." A pause. "We would like you to dock," the voice continued. "Both of you." Rin stiffened. Eli rested a hand on her back. Is this a request or an order? Another pause, longer this time. A request, the voice said. Eli nodded to himself. Then we'll come over. The docking process was slow and careful. The station was small, built for observation and emergency shelter, not visitors. When the airlock finally opened, a small group of humans waited on the other side. No weapons raised. That mattered. Rin hesitated at the threshold, her ears flat, eyes glowing softly. Eli stood beside her, close enough that she could feel him. They will stare, she said. Humans stare at everything new, Eli replied. You should see how we treat our own. That earned a brief huff of amusement from her. They stepped onto the station together. The humans did stare, but there was no fear in their faces, only curiosity, awe, and something like respect. One woman stepped forward, older, her hair gray at the edges. I'm Director Kess, she said. Welcome. Rin said nothing. Eli answered. Thanks for not pointing guns at us, Kess smiled faintly. We learned that lesson the hard way. They were led into a quiet room with soft lighting and wide windows that looked out into space. No restraints, no hidden fields. That mattered too. Kess gestured for them to sit. Rin climbed into Eli's lap without hesitation and curled there, watching everyone closely. One of the technicians whispered, she chose him. Kess heard it. She nodded once. Yes, she said. She did. Kess folded her hands. We won't keep you long. The situation is changing. Eli raised an eyebrow. That sounds like trouble. It is, Kess admitted, for everyone else. She activated a display. Images appeared, hunter ships retreating, alliances breaking apart, messages filled with confusion and anger. They expected control, Kess said. What they found was resistance. Rin's voice was quiet but steady. They are afraid now. Yes, Kess said, because they don't understand why you stayed. Rin looked up at Eli. Neither do I, Eli shrugged. Seemed like the right thing. Kess studied him carefully. Do you know what you've done? Eli thought for a moment. Saved someone, Kess smiled. You've redefined a species classification. That got his attention. For centuries, Kess continued, the galaxy ranked species by threat, strength, intelligence, weapons. And humans? Eli asked. Mid-tier, she said. Adaptable, loud, dangerous in groups, manageable alone. Rin snorted softly. That has changed, Kess went on. You're now listed as a destabilizing factor. Eli blinked. That sounds bad. It terrifies them, Kess said calmly. You don't dominate, you don't submit, you bond. Rin's tail tightened slightly around Eli's arm. They cannot control bonds, she said. No, Kess agreed. They can't. An alarm sounded softly through the station. Kess stood. That would be the council. The main screen lit up. Dozens of alien figures appeared, some familiar, some strange. Their voices overlapped in anger and fear until one central figure spoke. Human representative, it demanded. You harbor a prohibited entity. Eli leaned back. She's sitting right here. Rin lifted her head and bared her teeth slightly. Not a threat, a reminder. You must surrender her, the figure said, for galactic stability. Eli didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood. Rin slid down but stayed close at his side. Eli faced the screen. No, he said. The chamber erupted, threats, sanctions, military warnings. Eli waited until it quieted. You call her unstable, he continued, but you hunted her people until nothing was left. You call us dangerous because we won't hand her over. He took a breath. Here's the truth, he said. Humans don't own companions, we don't cage allies, and we don't give up someone who chose to trust us. Silence fell. The central figure's voice was cold. Then you will be isolated. Eli smiled faintly. You already tried that. Rin stepped forward then, her voice carrying clear and strong. You fear us, she said, because together we break your predictions. Her eyes glowed brighter, not wild, controlled. I am not his pet, she said. I am his equal. She turned to Eli and did something that stunned the entire chamber. She reached up and took his hand. Gasps echoed across the channels. Kess watched with something like pride. The central figure recoiled slightly. This bond will spread. Eli nodded. Good. The transmission cut abruptly. The room stayed quiet for a long moment, then Kess laughed softly. Well, she said, that went about as badly as expected. Eli exhaled. So what now? Kess looked at them both. Now the galaxy adapts. Rin leaned into Eli's side. They will come again. Probably, Eli said. She looked up at him. You could still live quietly without me. Eli considered that, then shook his head. Doesn't sound like me. Her ears relaxed. Her tail flicked once, slow and calm. Outside the station, human ships began to arrive. Not warships, escorts, explorers, aid vessels. They did not form a fleet. They formed a network. Rin watched them through the window. Your people are strange, she said. Eli smiled. You have no idea. She climbed back into his lap, curling there comfortably, openly, without fear. I am still not your pet, she murmured. Eli rested his chin lightly on her head. I know, he said. Your family. She did not correct him this time. Far across the stars, models failed. Predictions collapsed. Equations broke. And the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans did not conquer through force. They changed everything simply by refusing to let go.